The eyes of that species of extinct giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. Those are not the words of a conspiracy theorist. Those are the words of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, written in 1848. When we think of giants, we think of fairy tales, Jack and the Beanstalk, myths. But why did the President of the United States speak of them as a factual, extinct species? And why did he say their bones fill the mounds of America? For over a century, we have been told a specific version of history. But if you dig into the archives of the 19th century, a different story emerges. A story of 7, 8, and even 10-foot-tall human skeletons discovered in every corner of North America. Today, those bones are gone, vanished into the basements of museums that deny they ever existed. Who were the lost giants, and why did the Smithsonian Institute decide to erase them from history? Before modern cities covered the landscape, North America was dominated by massive earthworks. From the Ohio Valley to the Mississippi River, thousands of geometric mounds shaped the land. When the first European settlers arrived, they were baffled. The local Native American tribes living there at the time told the settlers, "We did not build these. They were here when we arrived. They were built by a race of giants who lived before us." The settlers didn't listen. They started digging, and what they found was terrifying. In the late 1800s, amateur archaeologists and farmers began breaking into these mounds. They didn't find standard remains. They found massive copper armor, intricate jewelry, and skeletons that defied logic. Skulls with jawbones so large they could fit over the face of a normal man. Femur bones that suggested a height of 8 feet or more. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was happening everywhere. Open the archives of the New York Times. On May 4, 1912, the Times reported on a dig in Wisconsin. The headline described the discovery of skeletons with heads much larger than the heads of any race inhabiting America today. These were not just tall men, they had double rows of teeth. Go back to 1885. The American Antiquarian reported a discovery in Pennsylvania, a burial crypt holding skeletons 7 feet 2 inches tall. Or 1891 in Arizona, where workers unearthed a sarcophagus containing a human over 9 feet tall. Between 1850 and 1920, there were over 1,000 reports in reputable newspapers describing the excavation of giant skeletons. They were found in Virginia, California, Utah, and Minnesota. The reports were detailed. They included the names of doctors, professors, and judges who witnessed the exhumation. So where did all the bones go? One of the most chilling cases comes from Nevada. The Paiute Indians have a legend about a race of hostile red-haired giants called the Site-Ka. According to the legend, these giants were cannibals. They terrorized the tribes until the Paiute people united, trapped the giants in a cave, and set a massive fire at the entrance, suffocating them alive. For years, archaeologists called this a myth, just a campfire story. Until 1911. A group of guano miners began digging in a place called Lovelock Cave. Under feet of bat droppings, they hit something hard. They began to pull out artifacts, and then bodies. They found mummies with distinct red hair. Some of these skeletons measured between 8 and 10 feet tall. They found sandals that were 15 inches long, handprints burned into the cave walls that were twice the size of a human hand. This wasn't a myth. The Site-Ka were real. But just like in the Grand Canyon, as soon as the discovery was made, the authorities stepped in. This brings us to the Smithsonian Institute. In the late 19th century, a man named John Wesley Powell ran the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian. At that time, the US government was in a difficult position. They were seizing land from Native Americans, justifying it by claiming the natives were savages who had never built a civilization, admitting that the mounds were built by a sophisticated ancient race of giants, possibly connected to Europe or the Middle East, would complicate the land rights. Powell established a policy now known as the Powell Doctrine. The doctrine was simple: no archaeological find could be admitted if it suggested a pre-Columbian civilization other than the known tribes. So when citizens sent giant bones to the Smithsonian, they were accepted, and then they disappeared. There are reports of bones being barged out into the Atlantic and dumped. Others were allegedly crushed into dust. The official narrative became the only narrative. The giants didn't fit the timeline of evolution, so they were erased. But the Smithsonian cannot police the whole world. In Ecuador, researchers have found massive skeletons. In Sardinia, the tombs of the giants contain bones that locals swear belong to a lost race. In the Amazon rainforest, explorers speak of tribes that tower over 7 feet. The Bible speaks of the Nephilim. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki. Every culture, separated by oceans and thousands of years, tells the same story. Is it possible that we are a species with amnesia? That we are walking on top of a history that is far stranger and far larger than we are allowed to know? We may never see the bones that were sent to Washington, but the evidence is still out there. In the old newspaper clippings, in the oral traditions of the Native Americans, and in the sheer scale of the mounds left behind. History is not set in stone. It is a puzzle, and some of the pieces have been stolen. Do you believe giants once walked in America? Or are thousands of news reports from the past just a collective hallucination? We are going to keep digging for the truth. If you want to join the search, make sure you are subscribed. Welcome to the Hidden History.